Marc The Shark MMA Show.
Hi guys, this is Marc The Shark Ritorto, and welcome to the Marc The Shark MMA Show live on Twitch. I appreciate you guys keeping up and watching me. Make sure you follow. If you happen to have a Amazon Prime account, you can actually subscribe for free. And don't forget to follow me on my social media pages. The Marc The Shark MMA Show on Facebook, Marc BJJ Fighter on Twitter, and Marc_Ritorto on Instagram. And again, it's Marc with a C and not a K. And also don't forget to go to the website, MarcTheSharkMMAShow.com, where you can make a donation to help support the contest. And you can also get t-shirts and hoodies, kind of like this one that I'm wearing here. Not too shabby, right? And also don't forget that me and my daughter's got books that we have both written. Hers is called the Invisible Girl series. Mine, I have two. One's called The Cabal, The Saga Begins. And my second book, which is out right now, is called Marcus the Vampire. It's the first book in the Dark World Chronicle series. So check it out at www.ritortofamilybooks.com. All right, guys. When we come back, we'll start the show. I am sure you're going to love it. This week's episode is great. Make sure you follow me every week on this channel on Saturday. And don't forget that I also have a podcast, the Marc The Shark MMA Show, which is available on Podbean. Great. All right, guys, we're back on the show. And today I got Zane back on the show. We're going over UFC ESPN 18 featuring the main card of Anthony Smith versus Devin Clark. How you doing today, Zane? Zane, how you doing?
I'm good. How you doing, Marc? I'm good, Marc. I'm here.
Yeah, so me and Zane were just talking. He just brought up an interesting statistic. I don't know if you want to share it with everybody before we get started. You were saying something about the stats of the people who were.
Yeah, I just thought it was interesting. Sometimes this happens where you'll get a main card, or you'll just get a lot of UFC fights on. Sometimes it happens in the prelims, but there were 4 of the 6 fights, the first 4 fights, that did not go the way it was estimated to go. The first 4 fights, the other person was estimated on the stats to have won. So it was an upset. The first 4 fights were, I guess you can consider, upsets. And it was only the last 2 fights, the co-main and the main, that actually went the way people had estimated it to go. I just thought that was a silly UFC fun fact. That's all.
Yeah. So before we because we're going to cover the last 3 here. So we got the first fight. We got Jonathan Pierce, who defeated Kai Kamada. So I guess Jonathan wasn't supposed to win.
Jonathan Pierce and Parker Porter.
No, the first one, before the Norma Dumont fight. You said the first 4 fights, the people who won weren't supposed to win. So Jonathan wasn't supposed to win, but he defeated Kai Kamada. Then Norma Dumont wasn't supposed to win, and she defeated Ashley Evans. And then we get into the fights that we're going to talk about was Bill Algeo and Spike Carlisle, right? So that was a pretty
that was an interesting fight.
Yeah, that's the what did they call that redhead? The
Ginger Man or whatever.
Ginger. I actually wrote it down.
I don't know.
Let me see if I can find it. I wrote it down last night. Ginger. Actually, I think I did. No, maybe I didn't. Ginger.
Well, while you're looking, for that information.
Yeah. Give your comments. I thought it was a good fight.
Oh yeah, it was. I do feel that Spike Carlisle is one of those extremely technical fighters. I feel that Bill. Actually, I don't know how to pronounce his name. Alego. I'm not sure, but anyway, very, very different fighters. First of all, they're very different looking. They are built differently. One is tall and kind of fights long. One is a little bit shorter. Fights a little bit more with muscle, not exactly the best technique, but But I tell you, Spike is one of those out there. I don't know what he's going to. He is very unconventional, unconventional, unpredictable, and even when you grab them or if you punch them, they react differently than what you would expect someone, or the way that they should, the way that you would say most fighters would anticipate that person reacting. So I just thought it was one of those fights that you expected the other guy to win so easily, but it was difficult for the taller, more experienced grappler and technical fighter. It took time. It took time for him to get his rhythm and to win.
Yeah. I couldn't find his nickname. It's something Ginger something. But the one thing I noticed about these guys was, because usually featherweights, they move a lot faster than heavyweights, but they seem to have more gas. That guy, the redhead, seemed like he was gassing out a little bit more, right? And
yeah,
the other guy seemed that he was like rushing his movement on the ground, jiu-jitsu wise. And there were certain things that he did. I thought like he took, I forget what particular moves, but I think he took like a couple unnecessary risks, so to speak, on the ground. And he tend to lose. He tend to lose a lot of positions and stuff. Right. And then the redhead, it was one round where he had like a decent choke on him, but he couldn't get it. But in the end, it was definitely a good fight, back and forth battle. But I just thought it was weird how a featherweight would get winded like that. But needless to say, like Bill won the fight, and then we got the two chubby guys, Parker Porter and Josh Parisian. I'm probably butchering his name.
No, Josh Parisian. That's correct. So just something I wanted to mention is that yes, I don't mean to go back to the previous fight. I'll just touch on it. Is that, again, what an interesting fight. Maybe in the past, you and I might not have maybe respected the type of fight that Spike and Bill put up. Just very, very different styles. And there were some bulldog chokes that were actually there. But this guy, Bill, he's a black belt in jiu-jitsu, and he seems calm under fire. And there were a lot of chokes that were not 100% correctly done. So he was able to capitalize on getting out of them. And then I think it took a little bit of the wind out of Spike's sails as far as going for chokes or committing. And then there's a few times that Bill had excellent position, and you never give up position. And I think what happened was he was a little bit excited to try to finish it, and kind of lost position, but then he regained it. And then going into the Josh Parisian and Parker Porter fight, again, not the most technical fighters. I feel that at this level in the UFC, you have to be crisp with your punches. You have to have your legs underneath you. But yes, these two guys you can consider them chubby. They should have been in better shape. I feel that they're probably in the transition of their fighting career. I just think that they're both extremely large, heavy guys.
Yeah, one guy cuts from 295, the bigger dude.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, maybe you got a really good punch. Maybe you can take a really good punch, but I just feel that, man, you go into UFC, you should not be shaking and jiggling. You should be in better shape. Look at the heavyweights. There's not many heavyweights now that are shaking and jiggling that are at the top.
Yeah, Rosenstrike and even a Black Beast is slimmed down a little bit. Now, I got to contradict you a little bit. I got to it. What impressed me with these two guys is they seem to actually have as good a cardio, if not a little better, than the featherweights that fought. I couldn't believe the pace that these guys, they were pounding and swinging and moving fast for, big 265-pound guys that actually have to cut down to 265.
There wasn't much.
All 3 rounds. I mean, Josh was a little tired towards the end, but that's to be expected. And I do have to kind of contradicted a little bit. I thought Parker Porter, I have to give him credit because usually, like when you see guys that size, they're just like throwing and winging their arms. He actually put some pretty good combos together. He was putting uppercuts. He was mixing it up with like the leg kicks. He was covering up nicely. And then Josh was like trying to hit him with a couple of spinning back fists, and they weren't that sloppy for a big guy to throw him. I mean, I was like shocked. And he had a couple of head kicks in too. For a guy, his legs are probably my whole body weight, and he was actually able to pick his leg up and kick Porter in the face. So I was actually surprised by that. I think I agree with you. They should be in better shape. I think if they were to lose the weight, they would probably be very dangerous.
I think that if they were to both lose 20 or 30 pounds, they would definitely still be heavyweights. But I do feel that it was a perfect matchup with these two guys because
definitely.
As far as sloppiness, I do feel that Parker Porter was crisper. He was covering up better. And yes, he did put his game together a little bit better. I feel as far as power, Josh Parisian probably had more power, so that's why he was always still dangerous. And he was a little bit larger of a man. But if you were to put either of these guys up against any of the top 10 heavyweights, come on. I think that you would realize how slow that they're actually moving and how much that they still need to put together their game. They need to be crisper, cleaner, faster, mix it up more, and in better shape. So, as well as they did against each other, they were evenly matched. And I feel that, yes, they did make it the 3 rounds, even though they were beating on each other. But, we've come a long way in the UFC. And I just feel that at this stage, you should be in better shape with better cardio. That's my opinion.
I would like to see either one of them cut at least 15 pounds, make it 15, and give him a couple more fights. And I want to see one of these guys fight the Black Beast. I just want to see it.
Black Beast, I feel, is bad.
Because Black Beast doesn't have too much technique. He's gotten better, right? He's gotten better. His ground game it sucks, but he just pulls wins out of his ass, dude. Like he gets dominated on the ground. Somehow he explodes up in the last round and just cracks the guy.
Yes,
I think that would be a perfect matchup for one of these guys if they get a little bit more
power. The power that the Black Beast has, the speed in which he throws, and the accuracy that he throws is much better than I feel that these two guys are. And I feel that whenever he wants to just get up, he just gets up. There's no guard. It doesn't matter where this guy is. He just explodes and he gets up.
Yeah.
So nobody really has too much of a.
He's another example. If he were to lose 15 pounds, I think he would be unstoppable. If he were to lose, the Black Beast were to lose 15 pounds and improve his wrestling defense so that no one could take him down.
Just do 6 months of intense wrestling and jiu-jitsu practice. And that's all you need for a guy like that. A guy like that just needs to know.
He's already got the striking power.
Yeah. And I mean, he could always crisp that up too, but anybody's going to be, well, not anybody, certain guys that have one particular thing that sets them above the rest. And then if you're like, and if you would just teach them this, there's a bunch of those guys out there. But getting back to Josh and, Parker, I think that those two guys, they definitely got some things. They got a list of things that they need to do in order to be able to be successful as a heavyweight. But that's just my opinion. All right. So are we talking about the two main events, co-main and main?
Oh yeah, we got Miguel Baeza and Sato. Now, what I like about, I don't want to ruin it yet, but the last 2 fights, and I love it when it happens. Don't say what happened yet. The last 2 fights ended the same way, and I have seen other events. I think it was sometimes in the UFC where there was one, and I actually did a recap of it, where everybody won by rear naked choke. There were like 4 fights in a row. So when we go over the next one, we're kind of ruining it for the finale, but the finale ended 10 times quicker. So yeah, let's go over it. So you got Sato, I guess he's from Japan, and you got Miguel.
You got Miguel
Biza, whatever. I guess he's Brazilian. If that gives you a little hint as to what happens if you follow MMA, what do most people from Brazil specialize in? Jiu-jitsu. So yeah, go over it. Give your take on it.
All right, my opinion is, again, this was one where finally, in the lineup, Miguel was supposed to win, and he did. And he started off a little bit slow. I think it was more of a feeling out situation, and I think that he didn't do anything wrong. He looked smooth. He looked like he had his feet under him. I have to say, Miguel looked the way a true fighter should look, in shape, always ready to throw, where you have your feet underneath you. You're always moving, where you look the same no matter where you move. You're always ready. You're always ready. You get your hands up, and you're always in position to block or throw. And that's the way he looked the whole fight. And what happened was he didn't make really any mistakes. It was more of a feeling out situation. And then Sato, I'm not taking anything away from him. He looked really good too. Miguel was a little bit crisper, a little bit faster, a little bit more accurate. And he was able to kind of pick him apart, and then eventually got him to the ground, and you know what happened.
Yeah, he won by triangle choke.
Yeah.
And it was good, but nowhere near as to what happened with Anthony Smith and against his opponent Devin Clark. Now, Anthony Smith, he fought for the title against John Jones, lost. Not ashamed. He did his best. John Jones is like probably the best guy to ever fought in that division ever. And then I think he came back and he won a fight after that. I don't recall. My memory's a little fuzzy, and I'm too lazy to look it up on the internet. But against this guy, I think this guy was on a win streak, Devin Clark, and Anthony Smith had his way with him. And what was surprising is I think Devin Clark is known for his wrestling. I don't know if it was Division I. I don't think it was Division I wrestling, but I think he was like a national wrestling champ at some point. Actually, I'm going to look up his record. He's 12 wins, 5 losses. Nowhere near the experience that Anthony Smith has. Yeah, so he was on I think it was like an 8 or 9. He was on a 2-fight win streak. Whereas Smith, I just looked it up. Yeah, he prior to Anthony Smith, he won against Alonzo Manyfield, and he won against Dequan Townshend, but he lost by submission. But he's been in the UFC for a while, dude. I think most of his fights were in the UFC, but when you go to Anthony Smith's been around, dude. He's been in Strikeforce. I remember when he fought Haga Gracie. I think it was Haga Gracie's debut, and then Haga Gracie just choked the shit out of him. But Anthony Smith's got 34 wins, 16 losses, and it's kind of funny. I don't know what happened after Strikeforce. I do not actually remember him. To me, he was in Bellator. I do not remember him in Bellator. He actually won some fights in Bellator. I think he only did one fight in Bellator, and then he did some amateur shows. Then he went right into the UFC, and he had a pretty good win streak. The only, I think, loss he had was he lost to that. I think after his loss to John Jones, he lost to that guy you met at a grappling contest. Glover.
Glover Teixeira.
Yeah.
So he lost.
Yeah, and then he lost to Alexander Rossak. So he was on a 2-fight win list. That's probably why they were saying this was the gateway. You know, this was gonna like either make him, and like if he had lost, he might have like been kicked out. He would have been out of the top 10. And this guy needed to beat Anthony Smith to crack the top 10. But regardless, like Anthony Smith, I saw him on one time on Strikeforce, and then I never seen him again. And then when he hit the UFC, I don't know, maybe changed training camps or something, but he put together a very good win streak, which led to his title shot against John Jones. And then I guess it just took him for a while to get his shit back together, because he put Kevin Clark's supposed to be a national wrestling champion, and Smith took him down and pretty much dominated him. You know, and then he ended up with a beautiful triangle choke. He didn't have to move the arm. He got it really quickly. He got it in 1 minute, 2 minutes and 34 seconds into the first round. I thought, and everybody who listens to me, I love it when it's a submission. I love jiu-jitsu. So, I mean, I just, and it was also, I also like when it ends quick, so I go to bed early. It's getting harder and harder to stay up. But anyway, I mean, what were your thoughts on that?
Well, I felt that Anthony had a decent amount of size on him. So, you know, size matters. If you're you could be light heavyweight, but if you're someone that is just shorter, a little bit more compact, but Anthony Smith he's not a weak guy. He didn't look as defined as he normally does.
I actually commented. I said he looked a little soft. And I'm assuming he's coming off an injury or something.
But as far as the way he looked when he was moving, he looked fine with the way he was moving. And his defenses, as far as takedowns, he looked like he was schooled in defending the takedown, and he just looked bigger than Devin did. So when you have that, you know, if Devin was a little bit taller, a little bit thicker, a little bit wider, you know, things could have gone the other way. Maybe he would have had enough muscle in order to, you know, maneuver and get him down to the ground and be in a spear position. Who knows? But Anthony had that physique that he needed behind him. And then, yes, the guy looked good on the ground, off his back. You know, he was able to take somebody who obviously has knowledge of the ground and submit him kind of quickly. So he definitely had a lot of, I guess, leverage on the ground. Looked good. I can't take anything. But as far as himself with, you know, other top guys, he's got, you know, if he has 16 losses, look at John Jones, the best that ever was. I think since the time he stepped into the UFC, it was crushing everybody. And he never lost. He never lost.
Except one he got disqualified or something. Or, I don't know.
Yeah, that really wasn't.
Yeah, but everybody knows
that's never qualification, and he didn't know and to tell you the truth, I'm sorry, you walked into the UFC. That's like saying, well, you can't hit somebody with your right hand. I mean, an elbow like that, too bad if it ends it quickly. Too bad if you get hurt. I feel that type of blow should be allowed. That's just my opinion. An elbow like that.
I don't understand that downward. Even Joe Rogan, if he's listening, get me on your show. Joe Rogan argues that all the time. He doesn't see any neglect, whether it goes 12 to 6 or 12 to 6 here or whatever. He argues that all the time. I mean, if they wanted to make it safer, just get rid of the elbows. In fact, I'm trying to remember now. I don't think Bellator has elbows. Now that I think about it, I could be wrong. Because I don't recall ever seeing in Bellator fights where the guys get these big, huge contusions on their head. You know, where in the UFC, you like with Johanna, whatever that Sorchek, whatever. She looked like what was that character from Star Trek? Vulcan or something.
Joanna.
When she came out of her that one fight from those elbows and shit, she looked like an alien from one of those Star Trek.
There were plenty of fighters. There were plenty of fighters that
right, and then they get I mean, if they wanted to make it safer, just get rid of the elbows. But I don't see there's any benefit or more. I don't see how it causes more damage where you hit this way. You know, I'm surprised that some guys don't go up. You know, they always. I don't know if maybe that's illegal. I don't know. You know, like you hit up towards the jaw, especially like when you're up against the cage. Step back, boom.
The thing is with that blow, it is the type of blow that will end the fight faster, and it will slow down or halt a guy's career. So I can understand the UFC saying, well, let's not allow this type of blow because it ends it fast and it's not as exciting. Guys are going to be scared to get into maybe the sport if we include this type of blow. I don't know. Yeah. But all I do know is that without a doubt, it will end the fight faster. And there's not much jiu-jitsu that you can do when you got this type of elbow coming down on your face. It would be done. Ground and pound would be reinvented. But you know what? If you're a good jiu-jitsu guy, you will do whatever it takes in order to not get hit that way. And you got to move. This is a real fight. This is not a jiu-jitsu match. And that's what you signed into. This is MMA, and you should be able to take any type of blow. I even feel that I was disgusted about, well, what about nut shots? Getting kicked to the balls. I'm sorry. That's part of a real fight. You and I both know that it's part of a real fight. There were a couple of rules in the UFC, but when they started, no eye gouging and no headbutts. No eye gouging, headbutts, and or biting. That was it. And I still feel that is a true to life fight. No eye gouging, biting, or headbutts. I still feel that those should be the only three type of I guess street fight moves that should still not be allowed in the UFC. But everything else, I mean, really, this is a fight. How real do you want it to be? Do you want it to be a boxing match? Are we leaning more towards that? You can't do this. You can't do that. It's a fight. I'm sorry. Yeah. This should not be a career. This should be like, my life is martial arts. I specialize in this. And now I'm going to have maybe a few fights in the UFC, not a lifelong career. You should not have 20 years in the UFC. You should not have, I think even 10 years in the UFC is too long. If you're in the UFC for more than 10 years, that I just feel like if you're in there for more than 10 years, you knock it and you never get, because there's just no way you're going to be hurt. That this stuff is, it's not easy.
Yeah. Well, we could argue. We'll have another chat on that
a little bit with the rules and regulations.
We'll talk about that later, Zane. Actually, that's probably a good topic for another podcast episode. But anyway, this is a wrap. All right, guys. We'll check you out next week. Hopefully you like this recap. And that's it. We'll be back after.
All right, talk to you later, Mark.
Guys, if you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel and hit the alert button so you get updates. And also, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. This podcast episode is also brought to you by Ritorto Family Books. If you're interested in great books for your children to read, get books by Kristina Ritorto. And if you're interested in action, thriller, suspense books, you can get The Cabal, The Saga Begins, or fantasy books like Marcus the Vampire, both written by your host, Marc The Shark Ritorto. Again, go to www.ritortofamilybooks.com.